Is Barack Obama a gay crackhead? He is, according to Larry Sinclair, a recent guest on Tucker's show, who claims to have firsthand, as it were, knowledge of Obama's proclivity for both drugs and friends of Dorothy.
You're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party.
Yeah. Pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. I had given Barack $250 to pay for coke. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort, and next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going, and it went the direction I had intended it to go.
Even though you had sex with him twice, you did cocaine with him, watched him smoke crack twice, you had no idea who he was.
I had no idea who he was.
Let me just ask the obvious question. What was Obama like on crack? Is it your sense that that's who Obama is, just transactional, or that he's bisexual, or like what is this?
It definitely wasn't Barack's first time, and I would almost be willing to bet you it wasn't Islam.
The guy's running for president, and credible information comes out that he's smoking crack and having sex with dudes. That seems like a story.
Well, it would be a story if the media really cared about telling people the truth.
Now, I'm not saying the man is credible, but I will say he sounds a lot more credible than Christine Blasey Ford, who accused Justice Brett Kavanaugh of trying to rape her when they were 15 or something. He sounds a lot more credible than that Bergdorf Goodman lady who said that Trump ravished her in a department store dressing room. In both of those cases, their stories kept changing. And in the case of Ford, there's no evidence she ever even met Kavanaugh. In the case of Larry Sinclair, he's been keeping his story straight. Well, not exactly straight, obviously, but his story consistent since 2007, which raises another question. Larry Sinclair has been telling his story since 2007. So why are people only talking about it now? In part, you might say, it's because Obama's long out of office, so the media no longer feel the need to protect him. Maybe. But the media still love Obama. They still carry water for him all the time. That's not why this conspiracy theory is finally being discussed more seriously. What's changed is not how the media view Barack Obama. What's changed is how we view conspiracy theories, since so many of them have come true. Today, unlike in 2007, we know that there actually is an elite pedophile ring comprising some of the most prominent people on Earth. They even have their own island. We've seen the pictures of it. We know that the virus that served as a pretext to shut down the world almost certainly did leak from a biolab, contrary to what we were told at the time. That was a conspiracy theory, remember? We know that the measures imposed on us to fight that virus were pretty much all bogus, ineffective when they weren't outright harmful and intentionally dishonest. We know that the DOJ used made-up evidence to spy on Donald Trump's campaign. We know that the FBI just this past year was spying on Catholic parishes and then lying about it. We know that the CIA had a relationship with John F. Kennedy's assassin. We even now know that they actually were turning the frickin' frogs gay. So is it really such a stretch to believe that the effete politician who admitted in writing his penchant for cocaine and homoerotic fantasies might have done some weird drug and sex stuff with the guy in Chicago? I'm not saying I believe it, but at this point, there is very little that would surprise me. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. Right now, you can go to goodranchers.com. Use my code Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, for $30 off any box. Promo code Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, goodranchers.com. Goodranchers.com. American meat delivered. The libs, the Wile E. Coyote libs, they're trying to get Trump again. This time a liberal group is filing a 14th Amendment lawsuit to keep Trump off the ballot in Colorado. Because, you know, Trump, he could never win. No one would ever vote for Trump. That's why they're trying to take him off the ballot. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, though, speaking of male camaraderie, the liberals are throwing the Proud Boys in prison for decades. These are people who walked around the Capitol on January 6th, the worst day in the history of the world, the day when the light of democracy was almost snuffed out forever. These are people who, I'm not saying they didn't make a nuisance of themselves. I'm not saying they weren't a little bit rowdy, but compared to what the liberals have done, the environmental activists, the BLM activists, Antifa, compared to those guys who have nary gotten a slap on the wrist, what the Proud Boys and the rest of the January 6thers did is child's play. And they had the book thrown at them. While the BLM rioters who burned down cities, who killed people, who looted coast to coast, many of them were dismissed even without a warning. They just had the charges dropped. The Proud Boys now are going to prison for 10 years, 17 years. In the case of the leader, Enrique Tarrio, who wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th, he's got 22 years in prison for the seditious conspiracy to, go take a photo with Nancy Pelosi's lectern. The seditious, treasonous conspiracy, the very near coup d'etat that involved cracking a Coors Light in the Capitol Rotunda. These must be the worst insurrectionists in the history of America because they didn't bring any weapons. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. I don't know what the liberals thought that the supposed insurrectionists were going to do. But more is coming out about the Proud Boys. The liberals hate the Proud Boys. They say they're the worst terrorist group in America. And the Daily Star has found out about the Proud Boys' initiation rituals. And they say these are the far-right Proud Boys' sick initiation rituals. Strict rules concerning depraved sexual acts that one performs alone and violence. That's okay. The sick initiation rituals. The strict rules around sexual acts. Okay, well, what are they? What are they? This is what the liberals find so repulsive, horrific, terrifying that they've got to lock these guys away for 2 decades. These are the sort of things, which I'll read in a second, they're going to keep you up at night unless you have a Helix mattress. Right now, go to helix.com/Knowles. With everything going on in the world right now, you could really use a good night's sleep. That's why you got to check out Helix Mattress. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe collection, the newly released Helix Elite collection, and a mattress for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress made just for kids. I've had my Helix for years. I absolutely adore it. I sleep magnificently, and I want the same for you. Helix has a sleep quiz that matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress, because why would you buy a mattress made for someone else? Go to helixsleep.com/Knowles, take their 2-minute sleep quiz to find the perfect mattress for your body type. You don't want someone else's mattress. Get out of my mattress. I'm a married man. Head on over right now to helixsleep.com. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners in honor of Labor Day. Go to helixsleep.com/Knowles. Use code HelixPartner25. This is their best offer yet. It will not last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. The Daily Star has taken a deep dive into the Proud Boys' downright weird doctrine. From its twisted rituals and West is best mentality to its I don't want to say this on air, no sex alone with yourself decree. Okay, so this is what they say is weird, twisted. They say the West is best mentality. So if you believe that Western civilization is good, perhaps better than other civilizations, that's sick. That's twisted, according to the Daily Star. Nothing seems particularly out of the blue, with the first stage being to recite the oath, I'm a proud Western chauvinist. I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. Okay, this term is obviously tongue-in-cheek because the word chauvinism comes from Nicolas Chauvin, this French soldier, maybe legendary French soldier who was gutted and chopped up and torn up and killed so many times for the French army, but he kept going out there to fight. Nothing could possibly stop him from the battle. So it's a term that refers to excessive love and pride, and it's a caricature in itself. And the Proud Boys, being a fraternity for older fellas, a fraternity for guys in their 30s, obviously take part in this kind of hyperbole. So that's obviously hyperbole. I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. Frankly, if there's anything that I object to in the Proud Boys initiation ritual, it's the refusal to apologize for making the modern world, because the modern world is pretty messed up. But anyway, obviously this is just a almost entirely unobjectionable sentence. Next, a group of helmet-wearing thugs pummel the pledger until they can name 5 breakfast cereals. This is just hazing. This is just what they do in fraternities. It's not, they're trying to make this out as some kind of dark, insane, skinhead neo-Nazi group. This is the sort of thing that you do freshman year in college when you're initiated into a fraternity. And the guys come out and they're kind of beating you up a little bit. And they say, you got to say, come on, Fruit Loops, Cheerios. Come on, no, I can't, it hurts. Come on, guys. This is really, really basic stuff. And of course, writes the Daily Star, you've got to be an alpha male and renounce the cancer of feminism. Yeah, feminism's a cancer. It's awful. It's ruined society. It's the cause of a number of social problems. It's also a symptom of some social decay. It's made women miserable. It's made men miserable. Yeah, total common sense. Then being a man requires 4 things. The group's original founder, Gavin McInnes, previously said, you have to have had a broken heart. You have to break someone's heart. You have to beat the SHIT out of someone, and you have to have the SHIT beaten out of you. That's pretty much true. It's sad that is the process of becoming a man. If you can avoid breaking someone's heart, if you can, it's bad to break someone's heart. So avoid it if you can. It's a fallen world, and most of us do it. If you can, I guess avoid having your heart broken, but you're not going to be able to do that. If you can, avoid beating the SHIT out of someone, but maybe you're going to have to. Sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. And it is a part of growing up to get the SHIT beaten out of you. Figuratively, literally, or both. Usually both. Once you've had the Proud Boys tattoo etched on your arm, then you pop on the uniform, which consists of a black and yellow Fred Perry polo shirt. So even the uniform is kind of ironic and a little bit hipster. And it's just it's a polo shirt. It's just a shirt that normal people wear. It's not a Klan robes with a hood, with a pointy hat. It's not, you shave your head. It's, you just wear a polo shirt and you act like a normal guy. The rule book reads, this is the one that they really got upset with. No heterosexual brother of the fraternity shall we say, stimulate himself more than one time in any calendar month. Self-stimulation is a lack of impulse control, one member told SBS Dateline. If you control your impulses, you can control and regulate most aspects of your life. So the liberals now are complaining that the Proud Boys don't want you to be a wanker. That's it. How perverse is our society that when guys come around and say like, hey, dudes, control yourself, control your appetites. Don't be a lame loser wanker sitting alone in your room looking at pornography. Like, get some control over your life and stop being a weirdo and a pervert. That when guys just give that advice, which was the advice that all teachers of virtue taught for all of human history, the liberals come in and say, no, you have to go look at porn, go into your closet, go into your room and go do depraved sexual acts. So pathetic. If you're thinking of getting high, heroin and crystal meth are absolute no-nos. However, you can indulge all you like in cocaine. So there are, I don't know, what are the liberals upset about here? That the Proud Boys are saying you can do coke, or that the Proud Boys are saying that you can't do heroin and crystal meth? Because what I hear from the liberals is we need to legalize all these drugs. We need safe syringe shoot-up areas. We need to turn San Francisco into one big crack den. One big heroin den, one big fentanyl den. So the Proud Boys are at least saying, hey guys, do fewer drugs than you might otherwise be inclined to do. And outside the realm of narcotics, also banned is wearing flip-flops, fedoras, or cargo shorts to any Proud Boys meetup. Great. What's the problem here? The chauvinism line is hyperbolic, but it's kind of funny. I'm not a big tattoo guy. I think one time a month for that thing that they tell you not to do is too much also. And I would generally discourage cocaine. But the Proud Boys initiation rituals, by and large, are not so bad. Actually, the Proud Boys initiation rituals are much healthier than the initiation rituals pushed by our broader culture. Our broader culture has initiation rituals too. All cultures do. And what are the initiation rituals for us? It's to go to college and be brainwashed and told to hate your parents and your country and to become a huge lib, if not an outright communist. Your initiation rituals involve tons of promiscuous sex, looking at a bunch of porn, doing a bunch of drugs, dressing like a slob, being told that men are evil, being told that your country is evil, being told that if you're a white person, heaven forfend, you're definitely evil. Those are all bad. Those are bad initiation rituals, and they are ubiquitous in our country, and they start at age 4. They start at age 3. Forget about them starting at age 25 or whenever people join the Proud Boys. It's not a defense of the... If I were running the Proud Boys, I'd probably do things a little bit differently. But you say this is the great threat to our country? Compared to the other groups in our country, including the mainstream, the elite, the ruling class, these guys are downright wholesome. So because of that, they got to lock them away for 22 years. Speaking of rituals young people face, COVID is coming back. I've mentioned this for a while. It's right on time because the election is 1 year away. And some people deny this. They say, I don't know, Michael. I don't think it's really going to come back. I think you're just a little paranoid. Well, while you are denying that we are about to enter phase 1 of the COVID comeback, COVID 2.0 electric boogaloo, we're already in phase 3. Phase 1 was when Lionsgate and Hollywood started to re-implement the mask mandates. That was the little test. How are these headlines going to work? There was a strike going on at the time, so Hollywood was basically shut down. It was an easy test. Are people going to accept these masks? Okay, then after that, we got to a school in Atlanta. This was a college. We got to a college in New Jersey. Are they going to accept this? Again, it's the summer that these colleges are beginning to bring back the mask mandates. Not too much risk. Okay, people are going along with it. That was phase 1. Phase 2 was when the White House came out and said Joe Biden is going to mask up. Some government officials are going to start putting the masks back on. That's a lot more public. How's the public going to react to that? Okay, the public's basically going along with it. Now we're in phase 3, which is K through 12 schools all around the country are beginning to re-implement the masks. Kinterbish Junior High School in Alabama has asked all students, staff, and visitors to start wearing masks in the classrooms to slow the spread of COVID. Alabama, so we're not talking about New York and California. Alabama, Talladega City School District, more than 1,700 students, has urged children and staff to wear masks. Maryland Elementary School has sparked outrage after telling the students not only to wear masks, but to wear those N95 masks, which pose certain health risks, by the way. We just learned that a week or two ago. And also they're extremely uncomfortable. And they want them to do it just for 10 days, despite only a handful of kids testing positive for COVID and despite COVID not posing a particular threat to young people. And then New York health officials providing free masks in schools throughout the state as a response to rising COVID. You're seeing this also start to happen in LA. We're in phase 3, guys. And it seems so audacious. It seems so impossible to believe that they're going to bring this back. Frogs get very quickly accustomed to the increasing temperature in the water. All right? It's an image that is cliche at this point, but it's cliche for a reason because it accurately describes political operations. We are the frog being boiled in water. This occurred to me because as I saw the masks starting to come back, I realized that I had already forgotten about how insane COVID was. They shut down our country for over 2 years, pretty much just to rig a presidential election. It wasn't because the virus was particularly dangerous. It wasn't because the measures that they put into place were particularly effective. They weren't. In some cases, they were quite harmful. They just did it to rig the election. That's why they did it when they did it. That's why they're doing it when they do it again. They haven't done this every year. COVID's pretty much been over for 2.5 years. They're only bringing this back in the lead up to the 2024 election. And it's so hideous because our relatives died alone. Many people didn't get to say goodbye to their parents. Weren't allowed to hug their loved ones. Had to postpone their weddings. Weren't allowed to see their babies right away after they gave birth. Weren't allowed to have funerals. Weren't allowed to have Christmas. I mean, they really did us dirty, the ruling class, and they did it to rig an election. That was maybe some of them were sincerely worried about the virus. Maybe some of them were just exaggerating their fear of the virus. But the political incentive to keep this country locked down was all about the 2020 election. And this time it's all about 2024. And the fact that it was so egregious and it was so traumatic, and then we all just kind of forgot about it and moved on. It just shows you how quickly that memory evaporates. And they're going to do it again, and that water is going to be boiling hot before we know it. And already, the elected officials are going off script. So what do we say? Phase 2 of bringing the masks back. They're going to be like 50 phases. But phase 2 was Joe Biden is going to start masking up again. And yet he just showed up to an event with the press and he walks on stage and he's not wearing a mask. Now, the mask for your face is made of cloth and is completely ridiculous. The mask for your house is made of glass. That's called a window. And there are nice window installations that you can have around them, shutters, blinds, all that sort of thing. And when those are very good, you need those on your house. When you want to address your home's windows, you got to check out Renewal by Andersen. Right now, text Knowles to 200-300. For most homeowners, window replacement is not something they've done before, and for many, it is not something they want to do, but something they have to do. If you have put off replacing the windows in your home because it's too expensive, well, I've got great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and a free price quote from Renewal by Andersen. Renewal by Andersen's signature service is committed to giving you the best customer service possible, supported by the best people in the industry, a superior process, and an exclusive product. Right now, Renewal by Andersen is offering a free in-home or virtual consultation on durable, quality, affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 1 year. Text Knowles, K-N-O-W-L-E-S, to 200-300 for your free consultation to save $375 off every window and $750 off every door. These savings will not last long, so be sure to check it out by texting Knowles, K-N-O-W-L-E-S, to 200-300. That is Knowles to 200-300. I've been told, someone wrote into the show, contractor or carpenter, who said that whenever he goes in and sees homes with Renewal by Andersen, the work is so much better than any of the competition. And I have a cousin who works for them too and says they're great. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for the full offer details. Just a day or two after Joe Biden says that he's going to start wearing the masks again, he walks into an event, he's not wearing a mask.
Hello, everybody. Let me explain to the press. I've been tested again today. I'm clear across the board. But they keep telling me because this has to be 10 days or something, I got to keep wearing it. But don't tell them I didn't have it on when I walked in.
The press laughs. Ha ha ha. Oh, ha ha ha. Who are they laughing at? They're laughing at you. That's who they're laughing at. They're not laughing at Joe Biden. Joe Biden's saying, I said I was going to wear a mask, but I'm not going to wear it. It's okay. I don't have COVID. The only reason that we're all supposed to be wearing these masks is because COVID is allegedly this deadly, horrific disease that's going to kill us all if we don't upend society and rules and regulations and laws and individual liberties and all the rest of it to protect against it. That shouldn't be a laughing matter when you violate that. But it is, because they know that the virus isn't particularly dangerous and they know that it doesn't merit upending society other than the political ends that they're trying to inflict. So Biden, he can choose to not wear his mask, and he probably does a lot. The press, they don't need to wear their masks. But you do. And that's the punchline. That's the joke of it. Speaking of laughing, there's a woman, I don't know if I'm allowed to get to this bit on YouTube. This part might be cut out of YouTube. So all right, my favorite comment yesterday is from Phil Vetta 3308, who says, is Fauci's defense really the singular for data is anecdote? And this guy is supposed to be one of the smart people. I know, I love this. When he was confronted and CNN says, look, there are all these studies that show that the masks didn't really work and the social distancing didn't really work. He goes, well, yes, that's true. In general, on the aggregate, the masks did not stop the spread of COVID. But some individuals maybe said they did. You think, well, hold on, isn't that... You always tell us not to point to anecdotes, to point at data. But when the data are inconvenient for you, you say ignore the data. Just look at the anecdotes. Of course, you're going to see a lot more of that in the future. Now, speaking of the future of conservatism, Mike Pence has some thoughts.
Here within the Republican Party, I think we have a choice to make, and that is whether or not we're going to offer the American people a candidate and a standard bearer that will carry forward the common sense conservative agenda of a strong national defense, American leadership in the world, fiscal responsibility and pro-growth policies, a commitment to traditional values and liberties in life, or whether or not we'll follow the siren song of populism, unmoored to conservative principle.
I really like Mike Pence. I think he's an honorable guy. I just think he happens to be wrong here. What we're hearing is the same sort of thing we heard in 2016, which is that we've got the conservatism, which is principles. And the principles are cut taxes, add more military funding, X, Y, and Z. Or populism, which that's Donald Trump. And it's sort of ironic coming from Mike Pence because Mike Pence was the running mate and vice president for Donald Trump, who is considered the face of American populism. But that word populism, I'm not sure it really means anything. As it is used, it's just used as a term of derision, all this populism from the people on the left and from the liberals on the right. We need to cut out this populism. What is populism? Populism means different things at different times. Politics is eternal principles applied to ever-changing circumstances. And sometimes you focus a little bit more on the principle side, sometimes more on the circumstance side. And populism is much more sensitive to changing circumstances. But what it boils down to is a recognition that there is a chasm between the people and the supposed representatives of the people. And when the people feel like they're being gypped and they're not actually being represented in the government, then you're going to see rising populism. That is not a siren song. That's an important alarm. That's a warning sign that something has gone wrong in your body politic. Neither party, neither base group of voters, the liberals or the conservatives, has faith any longer in American elections. The left has questioned way more elections than the right has, and the right obviously is skeptical of the 2020 election. We no longer really believe in our system of justice. The left has for years said the system of justice is being weaponized against racial and sexual minorities, and I think that's largely not true. But the right is pointing out, well, hold on, the justice system is being weaponized against conservatives and pro-lifers and Catholics and Midwestern grannies from January 6th. And so we don't have faith in that any longer. We say, wait, hold on, our economy is no longer really working for us. And the representatives, so-called, in the Republican and Democrat parties, they're all for outsourcing. They're all for sending our manufacturing overseas. They're all for free trade deals that are supposed to boost up GDP. But a lot of people, especially working class Americans on the left and the right, are getting squeezed here. They don't feel like they're being represented. What is the future here? Conservatism or populism? Ironically, what is being called populism is a much more solid and traditional and classical form of conservatism before the chic, corporate kind of libertarianism of the last 3 decades took over. Protect your workers, build up your industry, secure your borders. If that's populism, if that's not conservatism, then I don't know what I guess I'm not a conservative. That seems pretty conservative and basic to me. And you have to take populism seriously, because otherwise you could have a lot more political instability. And I think the people in this case have a real point. There's a good reason why the American people don't really have faith in elections anymore. Well, here's the story. I'll tease it. I'm such a tease. This liberal group is filing a 14th Amendment lawsuit to keep Trump off a ballot in Colorado. If the people were being represented, if our form of government were really synonymous with democracy right now, then no one would worry about Donald Trump being on a ballot. If the ruling class really believed that Trump could never win a general election, then they wouldn't be trying to kick him off the ballot, because they'd say, okay, he's going to be on the ballot. He's going to get absolutely trounced at the ballot. So no big deal. Move on. But that's not really what they believe. They believe that the people want to elect Donald Trump, just as they elected him in 2016. And who knows what happened in 2020. And they at least fear enough that they could elect him in 2024, despite their protestations to the contrary, that they want to kick him off of the ballot. That's my tease. We'll get more into that story tomorrow. All right, now speaking of the future of conservatism, I'm joined by my friend who is not allowed on YouTube right now, actually. So if you're watching on YouTube, you cannot watch this interview. You got to go to DailyWire.com and you got to go to Knowles Show on X, formerly known as Twitter. So here's the interview with my secret friend. All right. If you were watching on YouTube, you didn't get to see that interview, but you get to go to DailyWire.com right now, or Knowles Show on X. But you should go to dailywire.com because the rest of the show continues now.